For years, I ate fried food and burgers that looked like this. And I looked like this.
In the early hours of Tuesday morning, police raided the Zionsville, Indiana home of longtime Subway spokesman Jared Fogle.
Then I found Subway restaurants. And I realized I could enjoy lots of great tasting food without lots of fat.
It wasn't immediately confirmed why police were there, but local media says federal and state investigators served warrants in connection with a child pornography investigation.
Like the tasty sweet onion chicken teriyaki sandwich, juicy chicken strips, veggies, and a delicious sweet onion sauce, all on freshly baked bread, with just 5 grams of fat. What have you got to lose? Later, big guy. Subway, eat fresh.
There is truth in advertising, yes I swear. Got new Nikes on my feet and Vidal Sassoon in my hair. I can sure use a Budweiser Fruit of the Loom underwear. There is truth in advertising, I swear. Why would they lie to me when they love what they sell? Plus we all know that the liars have a special fire in hell. On the television, radio, and in the magazines, the advertising gods perpetuate the American dream. Advertising, let it be, let it be. Now I know that I don't need to buy everything they try to sell me, but so easily divided is a fool and his money. There is truth in advertising, let it be. Why would they lie to me when they love what they sell? Plus we all know that the liars got a special fire in hell. On the television, radio, and in the magazines, the advertising gods perpetuate American dream.
It's so weird how many restaurants, specifically fast food restaurants, seem to come into existence in the public eye and appear brand new, when, in actuality, they've been around forever. Subway was no exception. Despite gaining popularity in the early 2000s, for reasons we'll get to in a bit, Subway actually was founded in 1965 by Fred DeLuca and financed by Peter Buck, originally as Pete's Super Submarines. It didn't gain its namesake until 1972, after several name change attempts, and wasn't franchised until 1974. But 2 things happened in the early 2000s that really sent them on a ride to the top of the success ladder. The first was the introduction of their iconic footlong subs. Of course, this actually didn't happen until 2008, but that was great timing on their part because just a year prior, in December 2007, the United States suffered a severe economic downturn that lasted until June 2009. It was the worst downturn in the US since the Great Depression of the 1930s, and was caused by a number of factors, including a housing bubble that burst, a bank run on the shadow banking system, and a subprime mortgage crisis, just to name a few. But the thing is, the footlong origins go back to 2004, when an owner of 2 Subway franchises within Miami began selling footlong sandwiches for $5 on the weekend, and witnessed his sales rise almost immediately without having to sell them at a loss. And fast food became the more viable option, specifically because of its cost-effectiveness. But there was another part to this, another aspect, specifically for Subway, that helped launch them, and eventually the footlongs, to the stratosphere of fame. And that is the one problem that consistently plagues fast food, the factor of its health in regards to its consumers. See, in 2004, Subway was promoting $5 footlongs, sure. But in 2004, we also had a film released by Morgan Spurlock titled Super Size Me, which was a documentary focusing on his attempts to only eat McDonald's for an entire month. Yes, fast food was cheap, but was it worth the health risk, was the message he was trying to get across. Personally, I feel like this film was a direct result of Subway's other secret weapon of the early 2000s, a man infamous for 2 reasons. A man named Jared Fogle. Jared Fogle became the focal point of attention thanks to his dramatic weight loss, which he attributed solely to a diet centered entirely around Subway sandwiches. He lost over 200 pounds, becoming a symbol of hope and inspiration for others who might be suffering with their own weight loss challenges. And in 2000, Subway capitalized on this, creating a marketing campaign that put Fogel and his weight loss front and center. Fogel quite literally became the face of the franchise, not just in its commercials as their mascot, but also interviews, public appearances, and more. And that doesn't even begin to cover the many other pop culture venues he found himself part of, constantly being parodied and such. But here's the rub. You can lose weight eating anything so long as you eat less calories than you burn. You could eat nothing but fried chicken, for example, as long as you don't eat enough of it to exceed your caloric intake. This is just basic health knowledge. While Jared's Subway diet consisted, supposedly, of a 6-inch turkey sub for lunch and a foot-long veggie sub for dinner, that's still only about 1,000 calories a day, which is less than half of what a man Jared's size would need to maintain his weight. So, how did Jared actually lose weight? He starved himself, plain and simple. I'm not saying there's not other variables at play here. It's also stated he walked a lot. But in the end, it comes down to simply knowing what you can put into your body and what you get out of it. And Jared just didn't put a lot in. So, in actuality, sure, perhaps the sandwiches played a role. How significant, we'll never truly know, but really it just comes down to calorie counting and starving, which is what most diets consist of. Between the prices and then Jared's rise as a health guru of sorts, Subway was primed, especially during the Great Recession, to be the #1 fast food place. And they were. However, after 2008, despite his time in the limelight, Jared's presence began to fade as the company turned more of its advertising towards the $5 footlong campaign. Subway did, however, attribute between 1/3 and 1/2 of its growth from 1998 to 2011 to Fogel, the equivalent of tripling in size, which, considering his weight loss, is comedically ironic. Jared had become synonymous with the company, to the point where he was a household name. So to see him back away, or be pulled away rather, from the advertising was a little surprising, but hell, most mascots don't even last that long. And then, in 2015, Subway, despite seeing meteoric growth with more than 27,000 franchises in the US and more than 40,000 worldwide, was hit with a devastating turn of events. First, with the death of their longtime CEO, and then when Jared Fogel, the clean-cut, all-American icon of good health and wellness, was charged with multiple counts of child exploitation and possession of material featuring children.
Latest now on former Subway spokesman Jared Fogel, expected to plead guilty to charges of possessing child pornography. ABC's Alex Perez is in Indianapolis with the details. Good morning, Alex.
Good morning, George. Details is still developing, but the U.S. attorney could be here at the courthouse discussing possible charges in this case a little bit later today.
Hi, I'm Jared, the Subway guy.
Overnight, ABC News confirming Jared, the Subway guy Fogel, is expected to plead guilty to charges related to a child porn investigation. Subway quickly severing ties with Fogel following the news, tweeting, "We no longer have a relationship with Jared and have no further comment."
Jared, what can you tell us?
The 37-year-old former pitchman avoiding cameras last month outside his home in Indiana as FBI and state police spent hours raiding his house, removing computers and other electronic devices, taking the items into this mobile forensics van parked in his driveway.
How's he doing?
Whoops. I think he's going to do very well.
At the time, sources told ABC News the investigation was launched after the executive director of Fogel's charity, Russell Taylor, was arrested on child pornography charges. Taylor has not entered a plea. Fogel severed ties with Taylor after his arrest. In July, Fogel's attorney said Fogel was cooperating with police.
In 1998, I weighed over 425 pounds.
Fogel becoming Subway's pitchman and a household name 15 years ago after losing 245 pounds. He credits to a diet of Subway sandwiches and exercise. And we did reach out, but at this point, no comments from Fogel or his attorney. George?
Okay, Alex, thanks very much.
These charges stemmed from an investigation that uncovered a history of illicit activities, and the response from the public was nothing but pure shock. Jared? The face of Subway? The guy who, in just the first year of being involved with their advertising, managed to raise sales by 20%? The guy who, beyond his work with the company, managed to tour and become a public speaker, impacting those who needed some reassurance for their own weight loss journey? The guy who, through various charitable initiatives aimed at promoting healthy living, managed to raise awareness and provide resources for fighting childhood obesity? That guy? Not to be rude, but in hindsight, Jared Fogle kinda looks like central casting sent him when it comes to being a child predator. Many mascots come and go, certainly, but most without fanfare, or often even acknowledgement of their retirement. Of course, most mascots also aren't actual people. They're characters, crafted lovingly by a marketing team. But if anyone ever had the need for damage control because of what their mascot did, Subway is probably the #1 example. After his arrest, Fogle entered a plea agreement, accepting a sentence of 15 years and 8 months in federal prison. This man, who'd once been celebrated as a symbol of health and well-being, of helping children, was now seen as a monster, and rightfully so. His image was irrevocably tarnished, and there was no coming back from that. Nor should there be. The face of Subway was now the face of a monster. And Subway themselves weren't capable of dodging adjacent comeuppance as a result. Thanks to his longtime association with them as essentially their brand ambassador, the two were entwined in the public eye, meaning that his legal troubles were very damaging to the image of the company. Subway, understandably and rightfully so, immediately terminated their relationship with him. Not that they had much of one by that point, but it was still a good show of faith. They removed his likeness from all advertising and promotional materials, issuing multiple statements condemning him and his actions. Subway also promptly introduced a new marketing campaign titled Founded on Fresh, which focuses on their establishment, early history, and features Fred DeLuca as played by his son Jonathan. They no longer relied on jingles like the $5 footlong or celebrity endorsements like with Jared, instead simply staying factual to their use of healthy ingredients. And while they claim, and while this very well may be true, considering Fogle hadn't really been closely associated with the marketing for a while by this point, that this new strategy was being developed prior to his public falling out and arrest, it's hard to fully believe that. We've covered a lot of mascots on this show. Most have just gone quietly into that good night, living only in the fond memory of those who witnessed their popularity. Some, like Mac Tonight, have sadly been co-opted by unfortunate groups of people to help spread an awful agenda. But that isn't the mascot's fault. He's a fictional character. He can't be responsible for what others do with him. He has no autonomy. Jared Fogle, however, is a real, living, breathing person, in the same way as Clara Peller, or Dave Thomas, or Colonel Sanders. He's a human being who is capable of making horrible decisions that destroy lives, and he did so willingly, all while smiling at us and telling it how great it is to look out for our health. In a way, what's worse? Being lied to by an advertisement, or being lied to by a man who is willingly hiding the darkest of secrets? Advertising is bullshit, we all know this. They try to give us a clean, sanitized version of things. But the thing about advertising is, it knows it's lying, and we all know it knows. There's an almost mutually agreed upon acceptance of said bullshit between the advertising and the consumer. But that can't be said with someone like Jared, who not only opted to hurt children, but hurt everyone with his actions as well. He tried to hide his bullshit. He tried to pretend he wasn't who he actually was. And for a good while, we believed him, until the truth came out. And really, who's surprised? His weight loss story is more or less likely bullshit too. So why are we honestly all that shocked that a man who couldn't even be honest about his weight loss struggles would not just be willing but capable of lying to us about his sexual proclivities? Ronald McDonald might be promoting unhealthy eating to your children, but at least he wasn't selling them into trafficking. The company isn't to be blamed, in the same way Mac Tonight isn't to be blamed. Jared is solely responsible for his actions. He chose to eat a Subway diet, and he chose to harm children. There's really not much to say about Jared Fogle, other than he hurt more people than he helped, most likely. And thank God he was caught before more children were harmed in the process. Some mascots deserve to be fucking dead.
Mr. Fogle, no denying your body's changed over the years.
Yes.
Sir, this committee must know, did you ingest anything that helped create this change in your physique?
Yes.
Go on.
Usually a 6-inch turkey breast sub for lunch and a foot-long veggie delight for dinner.
You get those over the counter?
Yes, at a Subway restaurant.
What is this?
Excellent.
We're going to need more evidence.
Am I free to go?